Google didn't send Meta a cease and desist. According to reporting, it quietly started closing a door. And behind that door was one of the most capable AI models on the planet. Now, the question isn't just what Meta loses. It's what happens when the companies at the very front of artificial intelligence decide to stop handing their best tools to the rivals who've quietly been leaning on them. Here's what we actually know. In late June of 2026, the Financial Times reported, and CNBC and others picked it up. We don't have a clean picture of the scope, whether this touches every Gemini model or just the frontier ones, whether it's a hard shutoff or a tightening of what Meta is allowed to do with what it accesses. What the reporting points to is directional and clear enough to matter. One of the two biggest players in AI is deliberately narrowing what its biggest rival can get from it. And that alone is a story, because it tells you these tools have become worth fighting over. Now, if you're wondering why on earth Meta would be using Google's AI in the first place, aren't they competitors? Welcome to the strange, tangled reality of this industry. Frontier AI models are mostly reached through APIs and cloud contracts, and those pipes run right through enemy lines. A company can be racing to beat you and paying to use your product at the same time. Why? A few reasons. You benchmark against the best model available, which usually isn't your own, so you need access to measure yourself honestly. You wire top-tier models into internal tooling, coding help, research, data crunching, because they make your own engineers faster. And you paper over product gaps, using someone else's model wherever yours falls short. None of the giants are fully self-sufficient. They all reach across the table and borrow from each other more than they ever admit on stage. Google just bet that control beats creativity. Meta's about to show them why that's a losing hand. Which brings us to Meta specifically, and why this pokes exactly where it might hurt. Meta has been spending staggering sums on AI, pouring money into data centers, chips, and a very public hunt for elite researchers, reportedly dangling enormous packages to pull talent from rival labs. Their whole public bet is Llama, the family of open-weight models they've positioned as the open alternative to closed systems from Google and OpenAI. So here's the tension. If your entire pitch is that your models are good enough to build the future on, why would you also be reaching for a competitor's model? Because internally, you still want the best available tool for the job. And if someone else's frontier model beats yours on certain tasks, your own people will quietly want it. Cutting that off doesn't cripple Meta, but it does apply pressure. It forces them to lean harder on Llama, whether it's ready or not, to close whatever gap sent them shopping at Google in the first place, and to prove the independence they've been selling all along. It turns a convenient outside option into a problem they have to solve in-house. And that's the part that should make you sit up, because this is bigger than two companies squabbling. What we're watching is access itself becoming a weapon. In AI, power sits in three places: the compute, the chips, and data centers. The models themselves, and the access that connects them to everyone else. Whoever controls those choke points gets to decide who moves fast and who gets slowed down. If this reporting holds, Google is reaching for that third lever, using access as leverage against a rival. And we've seen this movie before, just with different technology. Think about the App Store fights. Platform owners deciding which developers get in, and on what terms. Think about the moments when a company yanked API access and broke everyone who'd built on top of it overnight. Same fundamental move. You let people depend on you, and then dependence becomes control. Google just bet that control beats creativity. Meta's about to show them why that's a losing hand. So what should you actually watch for next? First, Meta's response. The obvious play is to double down on Llama and turn "we don't need them" into a product reality. But they've got other moves, striking deals with other labs to replace what they've lost, or throwing even more money and talent at their in-house models to close the gap for good. Second, keep an eye on regulators. Anytime a dominant company limits a rival's access to something the rival depends on, the antitrust crowd starts paying attention. And that scrutiny could shape how far anyone's willing to push this. And third, the one I'd watch most, whether other labs follow Google's lead. Because if restricting your rivals becomes the normal way to compete, then the open, borrow-from-anyone era of AI starts quietly closing, and everyone building on top of these models feels it. Because that's the real stakes here. Strip away the corporate drama, and this is a story about access to the best AI turning into a strategic weapon, something you grant to friends and deny to rivals. The tools that so much of the industry quietly runs on may not stay available to everyone, and the walls between these giants may be going up right in front of us. So I want to hear your read. Is this a one-off spat between two rivals, or the first crack in a much bigger wall? The beginning of AI's walled garden era. Drop your prediction in the comments, because I genuinely want to see who called it right when we look back. And if you want to keep standing right here at the edge of what's next, subscribe to Brink. We'll be watching this one closely, and there's a lot more coming.